Now let us go and explain some example. Okay. So now we can see that we have, let us say I have some employee master table is there. Okay. I have some employee master table is there. Okay. Let me remove this. Okay. Now you can see that I have two list of employees. Okay. So let us say employee one. So joined as when he joined the company. No? So he was joined as a software engineer. Okay. And so on so date and with some age like that. I'm entering the data. Okay. Now let us say that the employee one, after 2 years, his designation was changed from senior software engineer to software engineer to senior software engineer. Okay, after 2 years, and again after 3 years, his designation again changed from senior software engineer to team lead. Okay, senior software engineer to team lead. Okay, now after this, after 1 year, this guy resigned the company. Okay, he left the company. Okay, so now when any person or any auditor or any other person, if he sees the data, if he sees this data, what he will think? Okay, employee one. Okay, this guy Krishna. So he joined as a team lead and he resigned as a team lead also. So he joined as a team lead and he resigned as a team lead. That is correct, right? So if I don't store the history for this change, okay, if I don't store the history, if anybody see the data, what they will think is they will see that they will assume that this guy joined as a team lead and he resigned as a team lead. Okay, so that's why we need to maintain the history. We need to maintain the history. Okay, so this changes when it will happen. So this is the employee master table, no? Employee master table. No? So is your master data will change frequently? No, right? So will his designation change daily? No, no. So earlier he was team lead. Okay. Earlier he was software engineer. Okay. After 2 years only, this data will get changed. So after 2 years or 3 years, he will get promoted to senior software engineer. And again after 3 years, there is a chance of he got promoted to team lead. Okay. So this data, so this data is slowly changing. This data is slowly changing. It is not frequently changing. Okay. And we call the master tables as dimension tables also. Another name for master tables are dimension tables. Okay, so that's why this transformation name got slowly changing dimension. Okay, so when there is any change happening in the dimension, that change will happen slowly. Okay, when this data is slowly changed, I need to maintain the history for that. Okay, I need to maintain the history for that. So that's how the slowly changing dimension name was given. Okay, so how we will maintain the history? Okay, how will you maintain the history is, so let us say, I need to create one history table. Okay, I need to create some history table, and whatever the data is there, I need to, so let us say initially this data was software engineer. So I need to insert this data in the history table also. Okay, so the same data I need to insert in the history also. Okay, now, so let us say that my employee one designation is changed from SC to SSC. Okay, SSC. Then what I can do is I can go and insert one more record for employee one. I can go and insert one more record for employee one, saying that okay, his designation is changed from SC to SSC. Okay, and let us say after 3 years, if his designation again changed from SSC to team lead, what I will do is I will insert one more record here. So I will take this entire record. Okay. I will insert one more record for employee ID1. Okay. Like this. So if anybody come and see the data, what they will, if anybody come and see the data of employee ID1 in the historical table, so they will come to know that there are three records for employee ID, that is SC and SSC and team lead. Okay, so he has got three changes. Okay, in his designation, one is SC, SSC and team lead. But as the name suggests, software engineer, senior software team lead, we can assume that which is the latest one. But in some companies, we cannot assume based upon the designation name. So there will be like associate engineer, okay, principal developer, principal software developer, principal developer architect. So there will be designations which we cannot understand, which is the earlier one, which is the most frequently one like that. Okay. So yes, employee one has undergone three changes in his designation, but which is the latest one? I don't know. No? I don't know which is the latest designation he is currently serving. Okay. So to specify the latest information, okay, to identify the which is the latest one in the historical table, I can create one column called, I can create one extra column called active column. Okay. So when I insert the data, okay, when I insert the data, so initially, okay, so when I insert the data initially, so these two will be in active state. These two will be in active state. And when this designation got changed, okay, so we are inserting one extra recorder. So let us say with SSC. So we are inserting some extra record with SSC. So then this for employee the old status. Now this will become the active value will become 0 for the old record, and for the new record the active value will be 1. Okay, so that if I write a query like where active equal to 1 on this table, which will give me the latest status. Okay, similarly, if one more time the employee designation got changed from SSC to team lead, okay, then what I will do, I will make this as 1, okay, and the SSC line as 0. Okay, so whenever his status got changed, his designation got changed, I'm inserting the new record and making the active value as 1 and making the previous old value as 0. Okay, so if I write a query, I can get to know that which is the latest one. Okay, so is this is sufficient or any information is missing if I store the data like this? Yes, we will come to know which is the latest one, but I don't know in which period he served as a software engineer. Okay, from which period to which period he served as a designation, is served as a software engineer, and from which date he got promoted to senior software, and how much period he served in that designation, and after that from which date he got promoted to team lead. That date period information is missing here. I will come to know which is the latest one, but I don't know the period. Okay, in which period he served as a SSC or SC or team lead. Okay, so this is one way of storing the data. This is one way of storing the data by using the active column. Another way of storing the data is we can create, include two extra columns, that is start date and end date. Start date and end date. Okay, now you can see that whenever, okay, so we can include, add two date columns, start date and end date. Okay, and this start date, so you can make it as a date of chart. Okay, so this start date can become the date of chart. So his date of join will make it as start date. And currently, if they are serving in this state, in this designation, the end date will be null. Okay, the end date will be null for these two records. Why? Because they are still serving in the software engineer position. Suppose if he got promoted to team senior software engineer. Okay, so he got promoted to senior software engineer. Let us say that from 01/01/2008. Okay, so in 2008 he joined in 2005, and in 2008 January month he got promoted to senior software engineer. And this date will be the last date for the previous designation value. So on which day he got promoted, that will be the last date for the previous designation. And for the current one, the end date will be null. Why? Because he is still serving in this designation. Now let us say again that he got promoted to team lead. So he got promoted to team lead on, let us say, 01/01/2012. Okay, so from 2012 he got promoted to team lead. Then this date will be the end date for the previous designation record. Okay, so I can go and write end date as. Okay, suppose if you want to get the latest record, latest status designation, then I can write a query like where end date value is null, where end date is null. So which will give me the latest one, and also it is giving me the in previous designations in which period he served as a software engineer, in which period he served as a senior software engineer also. Okay, so this is giving me the correct information. Okay, so this is how we can store the data, okay, using the SCD concept, slowly changing dimension. Okay, in order to maintain the history for your dimension tables, okay, we have to go for this SCD type 2, SCD, slowly changing dimensions. And in SCD we have three types. One is SCD 0, SCD 1 and SCD type 2. Okay, SCD 0, 1 and 2. SCD type 0, type 1 and type 2. And again in type 2 there are two versions. One is maintaining the history using a single column, that is using single active column. Okay, another type is maintaining the history using two date periods. Okay, start date and end date. So if you store the history like this, okay, so these two will come under the SCD type. Okay, now let us see what is the SCD one. Okay, now let us say that you are storing the data in the history table, no? Employee master history table. Now let us say that there is a correction required for my employee name. The master table, the employee master table, there is correction required for my employee name. So they have not given me the surname. So I will go and ask that HR team, hey, you are missing the surname, my surname in the payslip. My surname is missing in my payslip. So why? Because in the table the surname is not there. So can you please modify that? Yes, they will do that update. Okay. For this change, so now the employee name data is changed. For this change, do I need to insert a extra record? Do I need to insert a extra record like for designation column change? No, no. I can go and directly update the existing data in the history table. No? So for this change, I no need to update there is no need to insert a new record. Okay, we can directly go and update the existing records, like we can replace Krishna Mohan with Krishna Mohan, yeah, for all the records. Okay, so for which attributes there is, for which attributes change, okay, so for which columns, okay, if there is any change happened, so you don't need to insert a extra record, you can directly go and update the existing records. Okay, so these columns Okay, these type of columns like employee name, mobile number, okay, like employee name, mobile number, let us say any Aadhaar card updation or PAN number updation. Okay, for those fields, you don't need to insert a new record. You can directly go and update these existing records. So these columns will come under the SCD type 1. Okay, for which we can directly go and update, and we call these columns as changing attributes. We call these columns as changing attributes. Attribute is nothing but a column name, and we can call these columns as changing attributes. Okay, and for which columns, okay, we need to maintain the history. So if any change happened in the designation value, I need to insert a new record and I'm storing the history. No? So okay, for which columns we need to insert a new record. Okay, for which columns we need to maintain the history. Those columns, okay, those attributes or those columns will be called as historical attributes. Okay, and these columns will come under the SCD type 2. Okay, these historical attributes, okay, we'll call them as SCD type 2 change. Okay, and this is SCD1. Okay, this is the SCD1 column, so for which we can directly update the historical table data, and these columns are called as historical attributes and comes under the SCD type 2 change, and for which we need to insert a new record when any change happened on this column. Okay, and then what is SCD0 means? So we have SCD0, SCD1 and SCD2. No? Then what is SCD0 means? For which columns, let us say I have the date of join. So I have updated this value in the master. Okay, I can set this. So can we update a date of join? So can we, if anybody tries to update this date of join, okay, so is this column data is fixed data or not? Okay, if anything change happen this on this column, the historical table, I should not accept the change. Okay, so if anybody tries to update the date of join value, okay, in the historical table, I should not accept that change. Why? Because there is no date of join means that is fixed value. Okay, we should not try to update the date of join value. If anybody updated in the historical table, I should not accept that change. Okay, for which columns the data is fixed. Okay, those columns are called as fixed attributes, and these columns will come under the SCD0. Okay, for which columns the data is fixed. Okay, those columns are called as fixed attributes. Okay, those columns are called as fixed attributes. Okay, and these columns will come under the SCD0. Okay, understood? So this is about slowly changing dimension theory. So any doubts up to now? You are able to understand the theory part. Okay, so for any table we can decide the columns. Okay, whether these columns will come under the SCD1 or SCD2 or SCD0 like that. Okay, now let us see the with example how we can do that in the SSIS. Okay, now let me take some data. So let me go to our database first. Now let me connect to our DB4. Okay, now let us say that so I have these columns now. Now let me take top 5 columns. Okay, let me take some top 5 columns into a new table. So let us say table underscore SCD master. Okay, so I have taken some 5 records into this table. Okay, now let me go and see the data. For this table, I want to maintain a historical data. Okay, I want to maintain the history for this table. Okay, now let us say that let me create one historical table. Okay, with the same structure. Now let us create uh, so for let me go for SCD0. Okay, and let me create one historical table. Okay, okay, I want to create one historical table. So let me create one empty table first. Okay, so that's why I'm giving some false condition. So let me it will create a only the it will take only the backup of structure. Okay, only the structure backup but not the data. Okay, now you can go and see that. So this table has only the columns. Okay, so if I give any false condition like where 1 equal to 2, 1 will never be equal to 2. Okay, so then it won't give the data, it will just give the empty result. Now you can see. Okay, so if I go for this, it will give me the entire data, but if I put any false condition, it won't give any data, only the table structure. That's why I have taken a historical table backup. Now you can see I have two tables, one is master table and the history table for that. Okay, now let me explain the SCD0. Let me start with SCD0. Okay, and why I want to maintain the history. Okay, for the this table SCD master in this table. Now let us go for it. Now let us locate our source table first. Okay, now where is our source table? So that source table is present in the DB4 and the table name is table underscore SCD master. So table underscore SCD master. Let me preview the data. So we have 5 records. Okay, let me click. Okay, pass that source data into the SCD dimension. Slowly changing dimension transformation. Okay, so let me open that. Now you don't need to write anything. You will just visual. Okay. Now let us go to next. Now your historical table is present in which database? Yes, that is also present in the DB4 database. Okay, so it can be present in different database also. Okay, if you want to create a connection, you can go and create a new connection to that database. Okay, so my historical data also is present in DB4 database. In which table? So where you want to store the history? I want to store the history under the SCD master history table. Okay, now in order to compare the data, okay, so in order to compare these two tables data, we should have some mapping column between these two tables. Okay, like either employee ID or like that. Okay, so in order to compare these two tables data, okay, to maintain the history, I need to have a common column. Okay, so which column I can take? So I can take the employee ID column. Okay, to map these two tables, and for this employee ID, you can see that at least one business key needs to be selected. At least one business key needs to be selected. Okay, now you can see when you go for key type, we have two options, not a key column and business key column. So let me select at least one business key. Okay, based on which it can compare both the data. Okay, so at least one business key should be there, and I have selected the employee as business key. And these columns, input columns, so these columns are coming from our source table, and these columns are coming from our history table. Okay, Now go to next. Now here you can see that. So let me start with SCD0. Okay, and first of all, let me map all our columns. Okay, and here you can see that we have one. We can select every column as either fixed attribute or changing attribute or historical attribute. Okay, we can select any column as fixed attribute, changing or historical attribute. Okay, now let me explain about fixed attribute. Okay, and here you can see the fixed attribute meaning means, okay, we have the fixed attribute meaning select this type and the value in a column should not change. Changes are treated as errors. Okay, so if this column data should not change, that is data of join. Okay, we can select that column change type as fixed attribute. Okay, now go to next. And here you can see that we have the option called for fixed attributes fail the transformation if changes are detected in a fixed attribute. Okay, so if anybody tries to change if anybody changed the existing data, do you want to fail the transformation itself? Okay, you can do that. Okay, if I select this option, what will happen is if it detects any change, it will fail the transformation. Okay, so if I check it, it will fail. Okay, then that's why I'm unchecking it. I don't want to fail, but I need to ignore. That's it. Okay, I need to ignore that change in data. Okay, now let me go to next. And we have some enable inferred member support. That is, if you find any dummy records in your source data, do you want to ignore the dummy records? So for example, while creating the table, okay, so they will insert some dummy record like all values, all column value with zeros like that. Okay, so do you want to consider those dummy records? No, I don't want to consider. Then uncheck this inferred members. Okay, and after that, go to next. Now it is just a summary section. What we have done. Okay, finish. Okay, now you can see it will design the package on behalf of you. Okay, so it will design the package on behalf of you. Okay, now let us see first time your historical table data is empty. No, first time your historical table data is empty. Okay, so what it will do, first time it will push all the records into your destination table. Okay, now let me go and execute this. Now we can see first time all the 5 rows from the master table are pushed to the historical table. Now we can go and check, execute this. Now you can see both your historical table and, okay, the master table data is pushed into the historical table data. Okay, now let me try to do the change. Okay, let me try to modify the master table now. Okay, so let me try to update the, okay, set date of time. Now I want to change the date of time. Okay, equal to, now it is for employee 1, it is 2015 January. So let me update with 2016. Okay, from 2016 to 15 to 16 I want to update for employee 1, where empid equal to, okay, now I have changed the master table. Okay, now you can go and see. So your master table it is 2016, in the historical table it is 2015 now. So since I have changed the data and data of join, I have set it as fixed attribute. Okay, I have set the data of join value as fixed attribute. Okay, then and I don't want to fail the transformation. I just want to ignore that change. Okay, now let us go on. See that, okay, whether it will ignore the change or it will apply the same on the destination table also. Now let me execute the task. Okay, so even though the master data got changed and we have set the data of join column as fixed attribute, it won't accept that change. Okay, now you can see out of 5 records, no records are pushed into that output. Okay, and now you can see it is not failing the transformation, it is just ignoring. Now you can go and run one more time. So it has not, it still the data is 2015 only for employee 1. So even though the master data got changed, it has ignored that change. Okay. Suppose if I select fail the transformation option. Suppose if it detects any change in the source, okay, I have selected data of join as fixed attribute. Now you can see if I check this option, means fail the transformation if changes are detected in a fixed attribute column. Okay, I want to fail the transformation. Okay, then go on execute this task. Now if it recognizes any change in the fixed attribute column, then the transformation itself will get failed. Now it will compare the source data and historical data, and if any change happens the fixed attribute column, now you can see it is failing the transformation. Okay, so that is about fixed attribute that comes under this type of columns will comes under the SCD0. Okay, now let us go for SCD type 1. Now let us select one of the column as Now let us select one of the column as, so let us say employee name as changing attribute. The second one, that is changing attribute. Okay. Now changing attribute means you can see here select this type when changed values should override the existing values. This is a type 1 change. Okay. The changed values should override the existing values. So here this is what you are doing. If any employee name got changed, it will go and override the existing values. It will go and override the existing values. Now let us see. So now, so let us go to our transformation. Now you can see employee name changing attribute. Go to next. Now you can see the changing attribute also got enabled. And for fixed attributes, I just want to ignore, I don't want to fail. And here changing attributes change all the matching records, including the outdated records when changes are detected in a changing attribute. Means, so if any value got changed, if the employee name changed, and we have multiple records for that employee one. Okay, so do you want to apply this change only for the latest record or for all the previous record also? Do you want me to update all the previous outdated records also? Then you can go and check this option. If you check it, it will update not only the last one, it will update all the previous record data. Okay, for that particular employee. Now go to next. Do you want to consider dummy records? No. Now this is a summary section. Okay. For the new records, it will go and use. Okay, it also separates the new records and existing records. For the existing record, it will do the update. For the new records, that will be pushed to the new record pipeline. Existing records will push it to the update pipeline. Now finish. Now you can see it is creating the package on behalf of you. Now this slowly changing dimension, what it will do is, so whenever new records are there, that will be pushed into this output. Whenever existing records are there, it will go on push those records into this changing attributes, and inside this OLDB command you can see that it is also writing a update command here. for which columns we have selected as a changing attribute. For those columns, it is updating the data. Okay, like this. Now here you are not designing the package, the slowly changing dimension itself is designing the package. Okay, so for the any new records that will be pushed into the new output, if any change happen, those record will be pushed into this OLED pickup. Okay, now let us say that. Now let us go and see. So let me try to update the employee name now. Now let us go for, so let me update the employee name. Set emp name equal to, so let us say from Faraj. Okay, so let us say some Farah Khan. Okay, Faraj Khan. Okay, and let me go for employee 3 data. Okay, let me go for employee 3. So I want to update the employee name to something like Krishna. Okay, like this. Now I am updating my source SCD master, that is my source date. I am updating 2 records. Okay, now in this column, employee name column. Okay, so employee name column, so it got updated, and this column this is set as changing attribute here. So this column is declared as changing attribute. Okay, so whenever any change happen, so it won't insert a new record, it will go and update the existing records. Okay, in this column, if any data is changed, it will go and update that. Now you can see in the historical table, it is still Faraj and Krishna here. It will go and update these records. Okay, now go to next. Okay, if you have any multiple records, it will go and update all the records, and I don't want to fail the transformation if any changes are detected, and I don't want to consider the dummy records. This is the summary section. Let me click on finish. Okay, now let us go and execute this. Now you can see that. So one record got pushed to the changing attribute. Okay, so let us see. Let us go and see your historical table. Okay, so your data got updated with Krishna Macharla, but what happened to the first record, SCD master? We have changed the first record also, no? So where employee equal to 3. Okay, now let me see one more time. So let me go on see. Go to next. Business key column. Go to next. Changing attribute. Okay, go to next. Change all the matching records, including outdated records, when changes are detected in a changing attribute. Go to next. Enable inferred member support. Use infer when effective may reference dimensions that are not yet loaded. Okay, go to next. Okay. Okay, so in this column we have the date of join value also changed. Okay, so maybe because of that it is ignoring that particular record. So what happened is, so in the CD master table in the first record, okay, we are ignoring this date of join value is 2016 is updated, no? But in the historical table you can see that the date of join is changed for the first record. Okay, and here we are still 2015 is there. Okay, so because of this it is ignoring that record, entire record it is got ignored. Why? Because there is a change in the fixed attribute column, no? So that's why this record got, okay, this record itself got ignored. Now let me change it to the original value. Now let me see. So I have changed it to the original value. Now you can see there is no change in the date of join now. Now let us go and see, execute this. Still it is not recognized. So why it is not recognizing the change? Oh, it is 00, but here it is 12 o'clock is there. It is still recognizing as different one. Now let me, okay, now let me see. Yeah. So now you can see. So since there is a modification in the fixed attribute, so it has ignored totally the row. Okay, in which record there is a change in the fixed attribute value. Earlier it has ignored all the particular row. Okay, now you can go and see. Now you can see here also for con also is getting updated. So since there is a some change between the date of join value, so it has ignored the entire row. Okay, understood? So, and one more thing is, if I insert a new record in this master table, so if I insert a new record, okay, let me insert the one more record. Okay, so if it identifies a new record, it will be sent it to the insert into table SCD master values. So it will be sent it to the new pipeline. Okay, so let me make it something like 6. Okay, so something like Mohan. So I'm inserting one new record. Okay, into my table. Okay, and let me do some more change. Let us say something like for Rajkumar, like that. So I have done some modification and I have inserted the new data here. Now when compared with these two records, okay, so I have done some modification and also have inserted a new record. Okay, when I go and do this change, now let me do it for employee ID 2 also. Let me make it as from Syed to, let us say something like Kumar, okay, or something like um, Rajesh, okay, employee ID equal to 2. Okay, so I have modified two records and I have inserted a new record. Okay, so now the modified record should come into this pipeline, and new record will go into this pipeline and it will get inserted into the destination table. Okay, it will be get inserted into the destination table. Now let us go and see. So I have modified the employee 1 and employee 2 data. Okay, so I have modified the employee 1 and employee 2 data and inserted the employee 6 record. Now you can see two records are coming into this and one record is sent to the new record is sent to the insert value. Now you can go and see. Okay, so this is about. Now you can see that for Raj Kumar and second one is here also Rajesh, here also Rajesh is there, and the sixth record got inserted. Okay, so this is about SCD type 1. Okay, so earlier is SCD 0 and this type of okay change is called as SCD type 1. Okay, and here it is working similarly like lookup. So the lookup also will do the same, no? So it will get the source data and inside the lookup it will compare the source data and the destination data, and if any new record comes it will send it to the new output, and for existing record it will separate the existing records, and existing records I can go and use this OLTP command, that is update command. So here also you can see in the lookup we are doing the same thing. So the lookup will separate the existing and new records, and the new records we are inserting and for existing records we are updating. Okay, but there is a small difference is there. Between the lookup and the SCD type 1. Okay, so can anybody recognize the difference? Okay, both are used for incremental load purpose, but there is some small differences there.
I think we can update and oh no, we can do anything.
So the difference is okay. So the difference is here. Let us see. I will show you some. I will run some data. Okay. So where is our source data? That is under the merge source file. So let me run the lookup first. Okay, and you can see that merge source files and OLTP data. So this is our source data now. Now let me insert two more records. Let me insert two more records. So let us say 16 and 17. Okay. Now let me do the change. Now let us say Rakesh, let us see that his got salary got updated from 3000 to 5000. Okay, and let us say 6th employee is Varun. So his city name got changed from Hyderabad to, let us say, Mumbai. Okay, like this. So I have done two modifications and inserted two new records. Okay, now let us go and run the lookup now. Now let me execute this. Now you can see in my flat file source, if I go on preview, so there is some change in the employee 4, that is 5,000, and employee 5 is city got updated to Mumbai, and two new records got inserted. Okay, now observe clearly when I execute this. So the new records will be sent into this. The lookup will compare the source and destination table data. So new records will be pushed into the new output. Okay, and the existing records will be pushed into the update cup. But you can see that, okay, I have inserted two new records, that is okay. But here, how many are going through this update statement? 13 records, that is all the remaining records. But I have changed value for only two employees, no? I have changed value for only two employees, but the update statement, okay, it is executing this update statement for all the 13 records. Okay, now let me run the SCD type 1. Now let me do the same change here. So let me insert one more record. So let me insert employee 7. Okay, I'm inserting one record in the source table. Now let me update the employee 1 back to Faraj, and let me update the Rajesh Kumar. Okay, so I'm updating two records again. In my source, on my source, I'm updating two records. Okay, so there is one extra chain, that is new record got inserted, and I have updated the names of first two records. Now let me go and see. Let me execute this. Now you can see the new record got sent into this new output. And how many records are coming into this pipeline? Not all the records. So this table contains total 7 records. Is the 7 records sent to this output? No. Only the modified records. Only the modified records will go and use this, will go and execute the update command. We'll go through that update command. So we are updating the historical table, okay, for which there is actual change happened. Not everything, not all the records. We are not updating all the records. So that is the small difference between the lookup and the SCD type. Both are used for incremental load. Okay. So, but here, if I use lookup, okay, and if I have already 10 lakh records are there, and out of 10 lakh records, if I modify only two records, but still I have to run the update command for all those 10 lakh records, which will be a performance issue. Okay, but if I use the SCD type one, okay, so I don't need to update all the 10 lakh records. I need to update only that two records. So my DML command will work fastly, so that I can improve the performance. So if I use SCD type 1 instead of lookup. Okay, understood?
Sir, one small doubt for me.
Yes.
Sir, can you show me the output for these two things?
Yeah.
Insert destination will become an output.
Yeah. You want to see the destination? So here are in the tool itself.
Okay.
You can see that. Faraj.
That means all the data will be like replicated, but only the specified data will be added or updated, right?
Yes.
Okay. That means it won't take much time for updation or insertion.
Yes, yes,
In lookup, it will take some time, right? Because it has
yes,
to
because it has
check
to update all the, yes,
it has to check each and every row. If it matches, then it will update, or else it will go for next row.
yes,
That's it, right? That will happen right in lookup.
yes, yes.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, so it's about SCD0 and SCD type 1. Okay, so I will go through the SCD type 2 in tomorrow class. Okay, so that will take half an hour session. Okay,
Okay. Sir, if you don't mind, can you forward me the videos?
yeah, yeah, I'm recording those videos. Okay, I will send it by tomorrow morning. Okay, at least. Okay,
Okay, can you send me all the videos, or
yeah, yeah, sure.
you have it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.